and she ratted him out. Jon Jones did it. And then Jon's on the phone with the cops, and apparently, allegedly, he threatened the cops when he was on the phone, which is not good.
We're not saying that.
I'm not saying that.
We're not having it.
Nah, definitely
Too
not.
much respect for Jon Jones, the GOAT of UFC. Is it fair to say he's the GOAT of UFC?
100%.
He is the GOAT.
I think the reality is, whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but, you know, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Right?
Yeah, you lived in that division.
I also never beat him.
Yeah.
And I had, no matter what I did going forward, it was always that, well, you never beat Jon Jones. Tom Aspinall is going to get that belt, and there's going to be a gap, right? That lineal championship breaks. That line breaks.
Yep.
When Tom goes from interim to champion.
What happened?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Thailand was the end of it. You know, we were talking about it before that. But yeah, the fight was done. We had the fight done a long time ago. So why he decided not to fight, you guys will have to ask him that.
I got no ego. I don't.
Yeah. I understand you don't want to talk about it. Do you believe that maybe outside of Jon Jones, you versus Tom is probably the biggest fight in this division?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I'll just come out and ask you. Do you think Tom Aspinall?
No. Jon Jones, I said it a million times, I'll say it again, he's never ducked anybody, other than that one goofy time with the Chael Sonnen thing. He's never ducked anybody, and you know, I think the reality is, whatever changed his mind with this fight, I don't know, you'd have to ask him that, but, you know, he's 38 years old, and I don't know.
Do you think if it was someone like Alex Pereira, he would fight them? And it's maybe Tom that he specifically doesn't fancy the match?
Absolutely, positively put on the baddest card of all time.
McGregor hasn't been in a while. I saw right when this came out, he was back in the ring. Jones, we don't know if he was serious. Is he not retired anymore? Is he back in
You jump back in the pool, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Officially?
Yeah.
So they've announced this White House UFC fight. Can we expect to see you on the card?
I can't promise anyone anything, but I have a very strong feeling that I'll be on that card. It's going to be historic.
But who would you take on? Who would be your dream opponent?
I would want to take on whoever's holding the belt at the end of the year.
Any possible names you think?
Well, no, I mean, as of right now, the champion is Tom Aspinall, but we'll see who's the champion at the end of the year.
Last thing, guys, Dana White said, the last thing Dana said was, Kyle was asking him what would be his dream card, and he said Jones versus Aspinall, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. He thought that would be the perfect one. And the guy started talking about this, Kyle, me. And Dana goes, the UFC landscape will have changed by then. We got a whole year. Hey, initially we thought this was just a...
Cyril tweeted that he thinks you should be careful what you wish for, and he'll see you in Paris. How do you think you match up against Cyril?
I better be careful, apparently. Yeah. I think I match up pretty well against him. I think I'm equally as fast as him. I move equally as well. The difference is I can grapple. I've got a lot of power. And I think that's pretty undeniable at this stage of my career. I've got a lot of knockouts on my record, mate. I have to touch you once.
Joe Rogan reacts on Tom Aspinall and Jon Jones' huge altercation at airport. When the King of Fight podcast weighs in, every MMA fan leans closer, and this time the bombshell began in a crowded departure lounge. According to startled witnesses, interim heavyweight champ Tom Aspinall and the legendary but controversial Jon Bones Jones exchanged heated words over security queue etiquette that exploded into a shove and a volley of threats before airport police separated them. Phones came out, faces flushed, and within minutes, grainy clips flooded social media, leaving one question simmering on every screen. Would these titans finally collide for real? Rogan's admiration for Jones's resume is no secret. He's called him the greatest of all time, so often it feels etched on the studio wall. Yet on this episode of the JRE MMA show, flanked by light heavyweight wrecking ball Khalil Roundtree, Rogan surprised everyone by saying Jon might be yesterday's headline. He's 38, he's been out, and Tom's running downhill, Rogan argued, voice pulsing with that familiar mix of awe and disbelief. Instead of pushing for the Jones unification bout fans chant for, Rogan floated a fresh idea: skip Cyril Gane and hand Aspinall the brawling menace of Derek Lewis. Roundtree grinned. The internet howled approval. The very next morning, UFC CEO Dana White tried to pour concrete on the schedule, announcing Aspinall versus Gane for UFC 321 on October 25th. 4th. On paper, it made sense. Britain versus France, 2 European stars to boost new markets, a tidy interim to undisputed path. But social feeds didn't calm down. Roundtree understood, saying on air, "Sure, Cyril's smart business, but fans crave chaos, and Derek brings chaos." Rogan nodded, reminding everyone that selling pay-per-views isn't only about rankings, it's about goosebump moments, and Lewis's fists create them every time they land. Outside the studio, opinions ricocheted. Khabib Nurmagomedov told a Russian interviewer that Jones's prime clearly ended, noting the champ has fought twice in 5 years. He crowned Aspinall the current best and predicted legacies could only be compared when both men retire. Meanwhile, Jon, stung or strategic, hinted at re-entering USADA's testing pool and teased a comeback on a proposed 2026 White House card rumored to be championed by former President Donald Trump. That timing, coming right after the airport clash, made conspiracy theories pop like kettle corn. Veteran brawler Matt Brown voiced the thought plenty held in private. If Jon comes back for anybody but Tom, the optics are brutal. Brown stressed he doesn't believe Jones fears Aspinall, but perception can devour reputation faster than a heel hook. On X, one user jabbed, "Ducking Tom was the best move you ever made," to which Jones coolly replied, "Choosing when and where to battle isn't ducking, my friend." Chess metaphors flooded timelines. Support and skepticism battled in the comments. Rogan's Derek Lewis detour gained traction as analysts remembered that Lewis has never faced Aspinall and still carries lights-out danger at 40. By contrast, Gane has already stumbled in 2 title attempts, and, fair or not, some label his footwork-heavy style too polite for bloodthirsty audiences. Yet his French star power aligns perfectly with the UFC's European push, so the promotional puzzle remains unsolved. Rogan shrugged on air. "Look, if Tom starches Lewis, the hype for Jones skyrockets. Everybody wins." Coach Din Thomas added another layer, claiming the never-ending tease of Jones versus Aspinall is deliberate marketing genius. "We talk more about a fight that's not signed than about ones that happened." He laughed. Every vague tweet, every half promise keeps the narrative simmering. As Thomas put it, the UFC dangles the matchup like bait. Fans lunge, the hook jerks away, anticipation resets, and social media algorithms feast. Through it all, Aspinall stays cool, insisting he'll fight anyone who validates his belt. His undefeated record past the first round and a highlight reel stuffed with finishes have cemented him as Britain's new combat hero. Asked about matching up with Gane, he grinned. "I move just as well, I can grapple, and I only need to touch him once." When told Gane warned him to be careful, Tom's only answer was another smile, confidence that flirts with menace. If he blasts through the Frenchman, pressure on Jones becomes a roaring jet engine. Still, obstacles crowd the runway. Dana White, mindful of Jones's history of outside the cage turbulence, worries about placing him on politically sensitive cards. Sponsors whisper, senators frown, and the fight capital calculus grows complicated. Leon Edwards, respectful but blunt, said on a British radio hit that if Jones bows out as champion, he's earned it, but prime for prime, he still sides with Jon. Even so, Edwards concedes Tom's speed could torment the older legend today. Every storyline loops back to that airport clash. What exactly sparked it? Rumors swirl, a comment about interim belts, a dig at inactivity, a jest taken for disrespect. Security tapes haven't surfaced, only shaky clips of raised voices and stern officers. Yet that small eruption crystallized tensions fans already sensed. Youth versus legacy, activity versus mystique, Europe's rise versus America's king. Rogan recognized the symbolism instantly, saying, "Sometimes fate writes the promo for you." By the final quarter of the podcast, Rogan painted a scenario. Aspinall dismantles Gane in London, calls out Lewis in Texas, knocks him cold, then walks to the mic and demands Jones at the White House in front of the world's cameras. Picture that path and try not to feel goosebumps. Roundtree chuckled. "Brother, I'd buy front row seats twice." Rogan laughed, but his eyes glittered. The storyteller in him knew he'd just sketched a blockbuster trilogy. Meanwhile, Jon stays enigmatic. One week he posts footage of brutal mitt work, the next he shares Bible verses and family photos. He's in the pool, out of the pool, chasing history, protecting legacy. Critics call it bargaining, supporters call it strategy. Either way, the game clock ticks, and the new generation runs faster every season. If Jones wants to silence doubters, stepping in with Tom might be the only sentence that ends the argument. Derek Lewis, enjoying unexpected relevance, says he'll fight anyone, anywhere, but he loves paydays and titles. His trademark deadpan could sell the bout alone. Tom's quick, but I just need a second. Fans know that isn't empty bravado. His right hand has turned contenders into memes since 2014. For Aspinall, it's a risk worth taking. Vanquish the knockout king and you headline every highlight reel leading into a Jones showdown. Outside the cage, television producers salivate. Imagine the embedded episodes. Jones touring the White House lawn, Aspinall hitting pads under Big Ben, Rogan narrating history in real time. Every supporting voice, Khabib GSP, Edwards adds gravitas layer by layer, and lurking, the question no one can escape: is Jon Jones still the GOAT if he never faces the man wearing gold right now? In bars, gyms, and comment sections, friendships test over that debate. By the end of Rogan's 3-hour marathon, the conclusion was clear. The heavyweight saga has evolved into psychological warfare as compelling as any spinning elbow. Whether it's scheduled for October, Texas, Paris, or Pennsylvania Avenue, the collision course feels inevitable, and the airport scuffle was merely chapter 1. We're watching the chessboard shift every week, Rogan told his audience in a near whisper. And sooner or later, those kings meet in the center. So keep your notifications on, because the next tweet from Jones or the next call out from Aspinall might flip the script overnight. One man chasing immortality, the other demanding recognition, and a microphone-wielding commentator breathing fuel on every spark. This is heavyweight drama at its finest. And if the runway brawl is any clue, the real turbulence is still ahead. Promoters behind the scenes already sketch out contingency ladders. If Jones delays again, the desk can pivot to Alex Pereira's hulking crossover appeal, or even stage a winner-takes-all Grand Prix that pulls Stipe Miocic back for one final payday. Insiders whisper about a possible London stadium for Aspinall, aerial drone shots over a roaring crowd, Union Jack flags waving as Rogan's voice booms through giant screens. Sponsorship executives crunch demographics showing that a single high-stakes heavyweight bout can spike European streaming numbers by double digits. The stakes stretch beyond belts. They include TV rights, national pride, and the future map of global MMA. Whether the handshake finally happens in an octagon shadowed by Big Ben, or bathed in Pennsylvania Avenue spotlights, the story seeds were planted in that airport shove. And until fists fly for real, every rumor, every podcast, and every lingering stare keeps the engines of hype screaming at full throttle.